Okay, Andrew Tate's final message or something. Andrew Tate's last message to the internet. That's not true. He's going to keep trying his best. Andrew hit me and told me to tell everyone his last message to the world. Oh my fucking god, it's Aiden Ross. Okay, nice. He got banned from everything. Let's go. My final message. It's not. He's going to keep trying to be relevant.
I was thinking for a long time how to start this video because it needs to be concise and compendious, but I also want it to be very, very comprehensive.
Hour 13 minutes long.
And I guess the best place to start is at the beginning. There's been many different versions of my life story which have been put on the internet as of late and from many years ago. But I'm going to give a very, very quick overview of my story. My life has always been difficult. I've certainly had a difficult life.
Holy I don't care.
Or canceled, because I don't think that helps the world. I think that discourse is always going to be the way that we lead ourselves to the truth.
Oh, there we go. He's doing the free exchange of ideas, open marketplace. I believe if there are bad ideas, we should discuss them all, blah, 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 blah. He's doing that thing. Always the easiest point to run to, you know. From a person who openly defends illiberal values, you know, like they'll always run to that. I remember, it reminds me of that one bit of Richard Spencer was talking on a YouTube live stream. This was after he fell off in popularity, where Richard Spencer was talking to some other Nazi guy, and they were talking, Richard Spencer was like, yeah, like, you know, we get banned from these places, we cry free speech, but we don't actually care about free speech, right? Like, when we're in power, like, we don't actually care. And the other guy was like, no, we don't actually care, right? And that was, you know, refreshingly honest, and it's true. Like, they don't actually care. They don't actually have any political inclination towards it.
I mean, yes, I think in the short term, we would favor government regulation of speech, but long term, are we even pro-free speech?
No, of course not. But we have to use this platform in order.
So we're being radically honest here. And,
yes, yeah. Radically pragmatic.
They just don't like it when they suffer the consequences for their bad behavior.
And if anybody has anything contrary to say about any of my points of view, I welcome it.
Oh, also, he's literally anti-empiricism. Do you remember his convo with Hassan, where he was saying women are worse drivers? And Hassan was like, here's the evidence that women are objectively less dangerous drivers than men. And he was like, that doesn't matter to me because of my experience. So it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, if it, like the whole, to the extent to which the whole free marketplace of ideas shit works, which it doesn't, but to the extent that it kind of does, that all falls apart when people are just like, yeah, I believe things that are wrong because they're right to me. You know, it's like, once you've reached that point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. What value is there at all in free speech or the free marketplace of ideas, or whatever that means, when its participants don't believe in truth? At that point, whatever, like, perceived benefits you'd get from that system dry up.
I like to hear it. And as long as it's in a respectful and adult manner, I often platform it on my platforms as much as possible so I can sit and discuss and I can learn things. Because if I have a point of view and someone challenges it in a very adult, correct, logical way, very often I have changed my point of view. And this has been really, really good for me as a person to grow and for the audience to grow. And I know I've changed many other people's minds when they've come to debate with me. And this is the beauty of being human.
So the funny thing about this is that this can't reach his core audience. There's going to be like a group of online grifters and far-right types who are going to use this as some kind of, wow, look at the reasonable man you've platform type thing. But his main audience is like dipshit, snot-nosed 14-year-old boys, and this is like cuck behavior to them, you know? Because like this is obviously not how he acts, right? They want to go on there and see him just like sneer at women and scream about his wealth, and how he likes women or whatever, and how he likes pussy young. That's what they want to see. So having him sit down and be like, actually, you've deplatformed a most intellectual interlocutor. Like, you know, yeah. Doesn't speak to the authenticity of the content.
So I have no problem with being disliked. I do have a problem with a few things. I have a problem with long format things I've said being taken out of context.
Oh my, okay.
Taking a small clip from a 2-hour piece of video, then with careful editing, removing of tonality, and changing my intention behind the words.
It's always the same.
To be a criminal or a bad person when I am not.
It's always the same. It's the same every time. It's always the same. Okay, I'm just gonna skip around. Is he ever gonna talk about his actual ideas, or is the whole thing just gonna be him whining about how actually he's a super reasonable guy and you all just have the wrong impression of him?
And how to grow as a man, and how to become the kind of man that can handle a difficult life, because this has been my life path. This is what God chose for me. And this is what I've been teaching. And I have affected positively millions of people. And I'm immensely because it got more clicks to purport the lies. So I thought, that's the nature of the internet. I've never been this famous before. I guess that's just how it goes. Unfortunately, now public consciousness, via the media, their intentions were to be as provocative and negative as possible. It can be done to anybody. And that's why now I need to take a break from all the podcasts I've been invited on, especially since I've been banned. I've been invited on the largest platforms in the world. I've had 100,000 emails of support. All the media channels want to talk to me. And I'm sitting here thinking, I need to make sure I'm not misunderstood. And I have to really be careful about how I do that while not backing down on my messaging.
He's going to take a short break and then shift into some kind of like Brett Weinstein IDW grifter, isn't he? You know? Like he's going to put away the machete chopping and the like long elaborate like stories about how he likes beating women up or whatever, and he's going to come back as some kind of like refined intellectual with very serious opinions on the evolutionary psychology and its effect on like gender relations.
While still championing the things I champion, still believing in myself, but making sure I'm not misunderstood. Very clear. A man has certain roles in society, a woman has certain roles in society, and when we work as a team, when we love each other, society is better as a whole. I think that these views are not very controversial at all. I think they were mainstream only a few years ago. I don't think that they're controversial.
What views?
Earlier in this video, I understand that now, as my fame grows, even though to me my message is very clear, a man has certain roles in society, a woman has certain roles in society, and when we work as a team, when we love each other, society is better as a whole. I think that these views are not very controversial at all. I think they were mainstream only a few years ago. I don't think that they're controversial.
Why are they all so cowardly, man? I'm being canceled for the belief that I think that men do stuff and women do stuff, and men and women should get along. Yeah.
Controversial. That's the scary thing. That's why I've titled this video My Final Message to Me, by other YouTubers telling them to go and do it, while all I wrote is poetry and the idea for us to now bow and bend to these people. And this is a really interesting conversation which can be had for many, many hours about the internet, about society, about sociology, about psychology, about so many things. This expands in so many different directions. It's actually very, very interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have because we're living in an unprecedented time of humanity where the world is so connected and we're all kind of unprepared for it, right? It's very, very interesting. I find it super interesting. It's something I've been talking about internally, and I would love to talk about more in person. And when I decide to finally come back to public consciousness and do podcasts and that kind of thing, it's something we will be talking about because I have a cross to bear because of my monumental success. I've lived an extreme life, more extreme, purely about the positivity I'm doing for the world, because in the media, I've done that with the tenets that I've been teaching the people who follow me. And knowing I had such a positive impact on the world is what...
Yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, like, what would you expect here, right? It's, like, of course, obviously it's going to be, like, 100%, I have been victimized by the you know, the malicious, and the hypersensitive woke scold, SJW woke, whatever. I'm a victim of their behavior. I've done so much good, and they just misunderstood me, and blah, blah. Yeah, of course. Naturally. Obviously. If, I don't know, man. Andrew Tate's sudden and rapid, popularity, I wonder if I'm gonna eventually get on board with the political lesbians of the second feminist way. I wonder if, like, guys should just be put in a labor camp somewhere. The fact that somebody as unimpressive and obviously insecure as him, can just, like, instantly command the attention of so many young guys is absolutely insane. It's, if you know, I'm just saying, I don't generally like the essentialist arguments, but now would be the best possible time for the the rad femmes to talk about the innate like stupidity and susceptibility to violence of the men. We'll see who cancels who. Unironically terrifying. Yeah, it just keep in mind, like, in reality, it's not actually anything about guys. It's just like, okay, a bunch of people are trying to turn this into like a society has failed guys thing, but I don't think that really applies to Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate didn't like suddenly explode in popularity because there was like this great harm done to guys that he's, you know, provided a bad solution to. Like, he literally, like, on here just, like, bragging about his wealth and talking about, like keeping women in line and how you should be able to cheat your girl. Like, there's not... This is not a product of, like, some vulnerability we've procured in men socially. This is just an exacerbation of bad habits that have already been taught. This is not they haven't been given a good masculine narrative so much as it is, this was already the masculine narrative they were basically being given, just 20 times worse and more exaggerated, and yeah, they're jumping for it. Also, keep in mind, like, whatever harm could be done to the left through the perceived bad optics of him getting deplatformed, it only took half a year of him being prominent for literally millions of young men to probably be made lifetime misogynists, or at least a good portion of them lifetime misogynists. The optical harm of removing social contagion like that will never be able to compare to the real harm of the social contagion being left to spread unchecked. Like your tweet said, sometimes it's role models, blah, blah. Sometimes it's just 15-year-olds are retarded. 15-year-old boys, keep that in mind. 15-year-old girls get annoying about, I don't know, horoscopes or true crime or some shit, okay? There is such a wild difference. Like, it's not like there's an epidemic of, like, high school girls that really get into the belief that you should be able to, like, people, you know, for funsies or whatever. Or that, like, the innate inferiority, like, biologically of men. It just doesn't propagate in the same way. Yeah, ISIS shit, for sure. K-pop and Stan Twitter disagrees. But that's the joke, right? Because, like, the K-pop girls or whatever are obviously annoying, but, like, this clearly doesn't compare at all, you know? Like, I'd much rather those guys be annoying K-pop stans. The Andrew Tate PowerPoint. The image so good that it does look like a shitpost. You have somebody who seems to be doing a Halloween costume of the Virgin in the Virgin v. Chad walk meme. It's actually uncanny. I'm getting like a pain in the back of my neck looking at this guy. PUBG. PUBG. This is performance art. True.